It could be because they're very similar to me, but I have a lot of clients who have a very strong how monster. I do too. I do. When I see a problem or I see an obstacle, one of the first things my brain does is go, "Ooh, how? How can I do this? How can I get around it? How can I organize? How can I arrange? How can I control?" My brain knee jerks to how. Because I like puzzles and I like figuring shit out. But I go to the how very, very quickly. And I've had to train a lot of that knee jerk how out of me. Um, and not that it doesn't serve as the first approach. I have a client in particular who's very much got an inflamed how monster. And so much of what he happens to be trying to navigate is related to his recent diagnosis with ADHD. He, the first step to figuring out how is to figuring out what is impacting the system, how is it impacting the system, where is it impacting the system, how is this showing up in life, so that we know what we're solving for. Otherwise, the how is just solving to solve. And how do I solve this problem immediately in front of my nose? What structure do I use? What tool do I use? I have to understand the entire system in order to solve properly. I just heard the story about um, in China in Mao's day, they were having an issue with crop yield and noticed that the sparrows were eating too many of the seeds, and they believed that that was lowering crop yield. So, huge push nationwide across China in killing sparrows, giving bonuses for anybody who killed. I mean, the rewards for anybody who's killing sparrows. And they decimated millions and millions of sparrows. Well, the problem is the sparrows ate the locusts. So the locusts were destroying not just some of the seeds, but most of the plants. And 45 million people across China died in the resulting famine. So on one hand, the story is about, humans trying to wield godlike powers and not understanding. But in this case, that was a how that they were trying to solve. How do we protect the seeds? And they weren't solving the right problem because they didn't understand the full system. We have a much better understanding of nature now than we did, and we still don't understand the full system. But you have to understand the full system in order to solve the right problem. And so be careful when your how monster starts poking at you. How do I address this? How do I address this? You have to identify what this actually is first. Am I solving for a lack of will to get things done or a structural issue that's keeping me from getting things done? The way things are organized in this world are not naturally set up for, in the work environment, are not set up for a neurodivergent brain. You have to understand how your brain works to adapt your systems to serve you, rather than just, oh, I just need a Gantt chart and I'll know exactly how to follow this project through. No, you won't. You have to understand the system, what's at play, how your brain actually works, and then solve against that scenario. And I think that's really important, neurotypical or neurodivergent. We have to name what the actual problem is before we start solving. Otherwise, we're going off half-cocked.